Shavua Tov from Schechter. In the portion of Yitro which we read yesterday, we read the lofty words which describe the revelation of God at Mount Sinai. If you will obey me faithfully and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all the peoples. But you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, Mamlechet Kohanim v'Goy Kadosh. I am the Lord your God, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. You shall have no other gods before me. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. In other words, the Ten Commandments. Furthermore, these lofty words were uttered in a very impressive fashion. All the people witnessed the thunder and lightning, the blare of the shofar, and the mountain smoking. In this week's portion of Mishpatim, however, we seem to have descended from the lofty heights to the lowly valleys. The portion lists a total hodgepodge of mitzvot. The Hebrew slave, damages, an eye for an eye, the goring ox, money lending, false testimony, the sabbatical year, all mixed up. What is the connection between these picayune laws presented without order or structure and the lofty revelation at Mount Sinai? Indeed, throughout the centuries, many have tried to separate the two portions. For example, the sages in the Talmud had to remove the Ten Commandments from the liturgy, quote, because of the heretics, so they would not say that these alone were given to Moses at Mount Sinai. In other words, there were groups of Jews who were saying that only the Ten Commandments were given at Mount Sinai, and the laws in Mishpatim and the other laws were not given at Mount Sinai. The early Christians rejected most of the mitzvot, retaining only the ethical ones at the end of the Ten Commandments. For example, in the book of Matthew chapter 19 and Romans chapter 13. The Reform movement in the 19th century tried to separate the heavenly covenant from the, quote, outdated commandments. Not so our ancestors. They understood that there is an integral connection between the two portions of Yitro and Mishpatim, which expresses the natural symbiosis in Judaism between belief and commandments, between revelation and action. As it is written in the book of Deuteronomy, the Lord spoke to you out of the fire. He declared to you the covenant that he commanded you to observe, the Ten Commandments. And at the same time, the Lord commanded me to impart to you laws and rules for you to observe. And so we read in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9. You came down on Mount Sinai and spoke to them from heaven. You gave them right rules and true teachings, good laws and commandments. In other words, the revelation at Mount Sinai is connected to all of the detailed laws and commandments. And so it is taught in the Mechilta, which was written in the land of Israel 1800 years ago. Rabbi Ishmael says, and these are the rules, Eila Mishpatim. This adds to the preceding. Just as the preceding are from Sinai, so are the following from Sinai. In other words, according to these sources, both the covenant as well as the portion of Mishpatim were given to Moses at Mount Sinai. Why so? Because Judaism understood from its inception that the Torah is not in heaven, lo bashamayim hi, nor was it given to the ministering angels. Faith and practice are the two sides of the same coin, called Judaism. Classical Reform Judaism in the 19th century thought that it is possible to observe pure faith without being weighed down by the baggage of mitzvot. But abandoning the mitzvot frequently leads to assimilation and intermarriage. Secular Jews think that it's possible to observe the ethical commandments without the foundation of the covenant and faith. But the death of socialism and the increase in materialism and selfishness in Israeli society prove that actions without faith are like a body without a soul. Classical Judaism, on the other hand, believes in what the Jewish people said in our Torah portion of Mishpatim. Na'aseh v'nishma. We shall do the commandments, and we shall listen to the theology. Without Yitro, there is no Mishpatim. And without Mishpatim, there is no Yitro. Without faith, there is no action. And without action, there is no faith. This is the message of these two Torah portions. Shavua Tov from Schechter.